Call Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. Lord willing that they continue to endure and be sincere. Mighty Shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit. Shalom to the Akwatiyam that are believers in this faith and this truth. Lord willing that you continue to pursue your lot, which is being the loving and silent virtuous wife. And Lord willing the most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that started the faith. We're lethal when we're educated in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Technically, through the Spirit, you are armed and dangerous, right? This is Ecclesiastes 7:12. Wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellence of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. In the Amplified Bible, for wisdom is a protection, even money is a protection. But the excellent advantage of knowledge is that wisdom shields and preserves the lives of its oppressors, right? And literally, when you're wielding wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Lord, you are a oppressor of that wisdom, right? When you go into like Sirach 6, you want to get hold of that wisdom. You want to get hold of the knowledge of the Lord and not let it go, right? Let me hop to Proverbs 4:13. It says, take fast hold of instruction, let her not go, keep her, for she is thy life, right? Hold on, so we can add on to it. Sirach 6, verse 26 to 27. Come unto her with thy whole heart, which is your mind, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. Right? And that wisdom is going into Sophia in the Greek, which is wisdom. Right? Later on, Wisdom of Solomon, the 9th chapter. Right? Without Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi's wisdom, we are nothing. Right? Hold on, I want to get this one too. I think it is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Let's see. No, that's not the one I want. So like your family. Weapon of warfare. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4 and 5, it says, For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Right? The mighty weapon that we have is this word, Ephesians 6:17. Right? That spiritual sword, which is the word. Right? We become lethal Israelites, right? Because of our spiritual sword. Casting down imaginations in every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to obedience of Hamashiach. And this helps us, right? When you look at Paul and even others that was led through the Spirit, right? Where our purpose, outside of the other purpose you have, I mean, technically it's all one in one, is to bring people to Hamashiach. I believe my purpose is to bring people to Hamashiach. Of course, to live it in myself, lead myself to it. It's really the Lord. But even more, the Lord have given me a talent like he gave many other people talents to bring people to Hamashiach. And the way that I do that is with this sword, right? This word, right? Educating, building people, edifying them, and building up a house on the foundation of the Lord, to understand history, understand where they came from, understand the purpose of Yahawashi, understand what's going to come, right? And we cannot do that if we don't have that mighty weapon of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi that brings strongholds, that lift up mighty men, right? Freaking submissive women, right? The spirit, a woman of Sarah, right? A woman of Mary, you know? So now let's go to Romans the 12th chapter real quick. So this is Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. What the heck? Okay, this is Romans chapter 12 verse 2. It says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. In the NLT, it says, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect, right? It's to believe in the Lord, right? And of course, we still, in this flesh. A lot of us, of course, we know our weaknesses. We know our own red flags. Giving yourself time to the Lord, definitely praying, making your requests known. But to even build, like even myself sometimes, before I even pray sometimes, I might put my mind in reading or a scripture so I can add something into my prayer to motivate me, right? Because my mind could be somewhere else just because I just got done sleeping. All praise to the Lord for waking us up another day. But, that helps me to reflect myself on when I go to the scriptures, to have my mind on what I need to pray for. Let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think, right? So even last night, whatever I prayed, when I wake up, the Lord have given me another chance to strive in this thing. So for me, I'm about to go try to read a verse. I might meditate. I might talk to my family about scriptures. And then that thought come to mind. Now I get to add this into my prayers. So for me, I feel the Lord changing my mind on praying. Sometimes I'm praying the same thing over and over again. And you don't want to keep doing that, right? Which the scriptures say. Don't be saying the same thing. Don't be repetitive, like the Lord is stupid. Make your requests known unto the Lord. And throughout our days, our weeks, is always going to be something new you're going to pray for, right? Just the same how I just used that example for praying. Every day you want to find yourself reading, because that is what helps us transform our behaviors to not be conformed to this world, right? I don't want to be like the niggas next door, right? I want to be literally my own man, but I want to be a man of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? Of course, I want my family to look at me as a leader and a protector, but I can't fully do that if I'm not getting the counsel of the Lord. Or sometimes I might be stuck somewhere and I might need to be sharpened by a brother that I actually labor with, or another brother that I'm following because of we singing the same song and hear him do a lesson, right? Sometimes, that's what a student does. When you're educated, somebody is edifying you to be builded up, right? Just like how I'm trying to build up sheep that might be on my channel, right? Even us ourselves are being sheep, getting builded up by another mighty brother that's bringing out a point that I might not be bringing out, a lesson I might not be doing, right? A brother might be live, and through the Spirit, when you're drawn to these videos, when you're drawn to camp, right, and brothers is teaching, that's all Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, because this word is going to help you not be conformed, right? Copy the behavior of this world. Literally, this word through the Spirit, especially if the Lord got you listen to a prophet and you taking heed to those words, is building up your faith. Let's go to Romans 10 real quick, because this is a faith-based ministry, right? But you gotta want it, right? Romans 10 and 17. So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God, right? This is how we're gonna build up our faith, by hearing this word. But let alone, you have to know that when you're hearing this word, you're getting educated, especially if you're cleaving to it. We just read Sirach, when you get a hold of her, let her not go. And the men of the Lord that's teaching daily, that's the example of holding on. Because you can't do a lesson if scriptures is not coming to mind. You can't do a lesson if you don't understand what's going on, right? And that's another, if you don't understand what scripture's going into, you got to use your ears to listen to somebody bring it out. That's another way of being educated, to listen. Be fast to listen, slow to speak. You have to be able to absorb what is coming out, right? Let's go to Proverbs 16. Lord willing, that made sense to you. Proverbs 16:3. It says, commit thy works unto Yahawah, and thy thoughts shall be established. Commit your works. Your works is not only the law, especially for you men. You labor for Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi by doing videos. Regardless what anybody's saying, just doing videos. No, it's everything included, right? The men of the Lord, your main job, right, outside of you praying, outside of you reading, is teaching, laboring for the Lord to bring them to Hamashiach. That's what we're doing, right? The Lord is our GPS, but the Lord has other navigators on the earth, which is the apostles, the prophets, to navigate you to Hamashiach. You have to look at every lesson. Even if a lesson going into prophecy, that's the spirit of Yahawashi. If the lesson going into parables, that's still going into Yahawashi. If they going into the law, it's still going to lead you into Yahawashi, right? Because in order to change our behaviors, we must apply what we're learning within ourselves, let alone being fearful of the Lord, because you don't want to fall in the left hand, right, or the hand of destruction. You want to fall into the hand of righteousness, which really the right hand is going to deliver those that are submissive unto Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, or those that commit their works, right? You praying, right? You're committing your prayers unto the Lord, right? When you praise in the Lord, hey, you meditate on his name, right? You might be meditating on the word, right? You're committing all your works, not just a work. You're committing all your works. That's with an X. That's with an S. Works, right? In the Amplified Bible, it says, commit your works to Yahawah, submit and trust them to him, right? You should be trusting, especially where you got to know that the work you do for the Lord is not unvoid, right? This work is valid. Now, it's unvalid if you're a false prophet, but still, you're still doing the work of the Lord on the left-hand side. That's your lot. But if you want to be of the children of Abraham, the children of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right, you want to trust yourself into knowing that, hey, it's only one doctrine, right, that you entered into other men's labors, right? That's how it is. I'm entering into Moses' labor. I'm entering into the prophets' labors, the apostles, right, of old, right, the time before we got here, right, before I got in the truth, it was men set up, right? So it's just the same education over and over again, that sound doctrine. And your plans will succeed if you respond to his will and his guidance, right? So we're going to exceed if we respond, if we actually apply his will and his guidance. And where do we get his will, his guidance? In the scriptures. This is our oracle. Like the Matrix, this is our oracle, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 11:19, a classic. Deuteronomy 11:19, and ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, right? And us as parent, we're in a position of being a teachers to our children, especially to your wives, brothers, even you sisters. You're a teacher to your children too, right? And we're supposed to be teaching them, thus saith the Lord. You should be teaching them the laws. You should be teaching your daughter of the order of women. Yes, you hear that in the law, but you got examples in the scriptures of certain women. You should be teaching them, right? Daily, right? Your son, you should be teaching them about the men of the Lord, mighty men of David, right? Men of war, right? And then the prophets, the seers, right? You should be teaching your son about the disciples, you know? Even just reading these things, right? You might not be a good teacher, but you can read and give some type of sense. But just reading alone and making it a practice daily throughout your child life, right? We should be teaching them when they sitting in the house, when they walking by the way, when they laying down, or when they rising up, right? We got to get back to that, right? You get so-called 24 hours in a day, but it's really 12 hours in a day and 12 hours at night, right? When you get a chance, when you wake up and them kids is mobile, before they go enjoy themselves in the world, right? You should just build your child in a way that they should go, right? And now that just hit me with Proverbs 22:6. And that's another example of knowing that an educated Israelite is armed with knowledge. Because look at us as parents. If you're teaching your child, your son, even your daughter, right, they're going to be lethal. Your daughter is going to be lethal, where she's not going to be in this world in a non-virgin and hopping around from different rod to rod. She's going to be covered. She's going to know how to respect men, right? She's going to know how to stay in her place. And a son is going to know how to be a man and not a woman, right? Stay in a man's place. Know how to rule his house. Know how to rule himself. Know how to put order, you know? But it's really about raising your children to believe in fear and walk in the will, in the ways of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. This is Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it, right? And you should be doing this for all your children. Just because yes, we teach our children by how we move every day. You're reading, your kids are seeing that. You teaching, your kids are seeing that. You meditating, right? You might be fasting, right? You giving time and separating from certain things. You giving your time to the Lord. Your kids are seeing that. Let alone you're actually speaking to your kids and bringing scriptures out, right? If you got to always have your mind expanded. What if your kid is 20? What if your kid is 30? You want to be feeding them, because say if they do go out in this world and they're not under your roof and they make that rational decision, right? Whatever they plant within themselves, and they're walking away from this truth, and they're getting lazier and lazier with the ministry, not doing the things that they was doing in the household, they're going to fall away from this thing. But a child that you constantly is growing up and train them in a way, they will never depart from this. It's like they would never leave home. They would never leave the order that was in that home, right? So the same, just knowing that you training up your child, this is the same within ourselves. I'm building discipline if I'm always trying to show my kids and teach them. And even on a double side, that is increasing my discipline, because I'm doing it to them. It's making me go into scriptures. It's making me answer questions. And it's building me up just like it's building them up, you know? It's like a domino effect. And a family that is abiding in the ways of the Lord is very lethal when your whole family is abiding, right? So let's go. So just to line a precept up with that, let's go to Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, the 30th chapter. And let's get verse 3 and then 5 and 6. It says, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him, right? When you teaching your son, right, you're grieving the enemy, right? Daughters, now they're easy to manipulate, right? Regardless if they got a good mind. But if a daughter's not shielded by their father, this world can swallow them up too. You want to educate all your children, especially your son, right? The son is carrying the mantle after you, right? Actually, let's read verse 5 and 6. While he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him. And when he died, he was not sorrowful, but left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends, right? And this is how it is, right? When you train up your child, especially your son, regardless if you're going in the spirit world, you're raising somebody that's going to be just like you. What if you're still on the earth, your son is going to be like you? You know, when we're educating the other sheep through the spirit, they're going to be like you, growing in faith, fearing the Lord, if they're a true believer, right? We're building people towards Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. When you're building self, when we go into these scriptures, into these lessons, you're building yourself to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? Let's go Proverbs 18 and verse 15. This is Proverbs chapter 18, verse 15. It says, the heart of the prudent getteth knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. Right? When you go to the word prudent, to discern or understand, you got multiple meanings. But a heart of understanding getteth knowledge. Right? The ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. Right? And this is why you find yourself always in the scriptures. This is not to boast our head up, but it gives you confidence in the spirit, and it lets you know the Lord is dealing with you because he's moving you to seek his wisdom, knowledge, understanding. The ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. Right? And it's supposed to be a daily thing. Right? Baruch, the 4th chapter, verse 28. It was your mind to go astray. Now seek me 10 times more. The wise is going to seek him 10 times, even 10 times more. Right? When you go to the 10 talents, they were doubling up. Not all. One didn't double, but all was doubling. So if you get 10, you're going to come back with 20. Then you got 20, you're going to come back with 40. When you study, you increase your learning. You increase the knowledge that you received. And guess what? When you keep doing that throughout your life, you become more sharp. Let alone you're walking different. Your spirit, you're alert of certain things on what not to do on a better level. And it helps you not to care for certain things. Right? In the NLT, it says, intelligent people are always ready to learn. Their ears are open for knowledge. And really, it's really the Lord that really makes us intelligent. Yes, we could be intelligent of the world, right? But it's all the Lord. Wisdom of Solomon, the 10th chapter, verse 21. This wisdom make the dumb eloquent, right? Some of us could have failed school. I was failing certain classes. But when you come to the knowledge of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, it makes you eloquent. Then you start looking back, man, I could have did way better in school. And just a sidebar, us not having this wisdom, knowledge, understanding that falling away, it really crippled a lot of us. Your mother, your father that didn't teach you this word, and some of us going in foster care, it crippled you. Where a lot of us is just waking up in this world and I want to be a dope boy. I want to smoke weed. I want to get all the women. We don't know nothing of our power. We're really spiritually crippled, and we're pushed to learn this education of this world and then lied about the true power and who he is. So now that we come in this, is either some of us stiff-necked, we don't want to receive it. Some of us, it takes us a time to actually grow, right? It took me time to grow because I wasn't being diligent. I wasn't even taught about being diligent. I wasn't even taught how to be disciplined, but disciplined in the world. But I still was messing up in the world. But I didn't know how to be disciplined by the means of the Lord. I had to be educated in it, right? Which we all need to be educated on it, right? Let's actually go to this one. 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter and verse 16, the classic. It says, all scriptures are given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished into all good works. Right? So these scriptures are going to inspire you, right? When you learn something in the history, in the scriptures, it gets you excited, and then you be wanting more. You started to get inspired when you learned about David, when you learned about Solomon, when you learned about Yahawah, when you learn about reincarnation or regeneration, you get inspired, right? It's profitable for doctrine. Proverbs 4:2. There's only one doctrine, right? You get to be able to come in this thing and sound doctrine, right? You get to sing the same song as him, right? Literally, it's only one doctrine. The Lord put 144,000 men on this earth. Some of them is in the spirit world, but they were speaking no guile, right? And when it fully comes to that time when Yahawah shall deliver us, we're going to fully know who the 144,000 is. Even before that time, we're going to know who who the men of the Lord is. Through the Spirit, we know who our teachers is by how they teach, really by the Spirit, right? They're always in prophecies. They're in the spirit of Yahawashi, right? Should be inspired for reproof, right? For correction, for instruction in righteousness. All the way around these scriptures is educating. It doesn't matter if you're getting rebuked. You're getting educated on what not to do and what you can do, right? You get educated on how you should teach, how you should read, how you should meditate, how you should pray, on what to pray. There's so many things in the scriptures that you can add on. That's why I said, as an example, you can get up and right there, your mind can be put in. You don't know. You could just really just say, thank you, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, for waking me up. But you want to read a chapter, get inspired, and then now you got even more something to pray, because then you start to reflect on what happened yesterday, what happened the other day, right? This word right here is home. Where they say, IHBK, this is home of the truth. The home of the truth is in these scriptures, man. It brings us back to the Lord, especially when we have understanding. We are not lethal if we don't have true understanding. We're not lethal. Is this the one I want? Yeah, let me get this one. Proverbs 9:9. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. Right? And that even goes back to the Proverbs 22:6. If our children is actually receiving this word, they're going to get yet wiser. Even us as men, and even you women, the videos that you might watch that brothers do, or your husband might do, right? Brothers, the elder apostles videos. When you watching that and you're really into it, you're intrigued into it, you get more wiser. You learn things. You pick up on things. Like the elder apostle, you know, just because I just brought him up, he be talking about work out your body. You know, you make yourself separate from your household, right? Especially if you're a teacher, if you're really in this thing. Sometimes you want to separate yourself because you can have your mind thinking, you know, and it puts your household, your wife and your children to be in order, because by the time you come home, they get to have the house in order. They get to have it clean. The house is not junky. And then they get to see, they put a smile on your face that the house is clean, the kids is washed, that the diapers is not stinking in the damn house. Things is in order when you're gone. That shows that your wife is listening. But it's really off of the women being edified and understanding, oh, this is our Lord, this is what he wants. Education is all around when it comes to us learning the scriptures, being taught the scriptures, being taught our role as a man, as a woman, as a prophet, right? When you learn your role, when you're getting educated on what the Lord wants you to do, how you should move, right? Life gets easier. Now, of course, it's getting worse, but I mean easier in the spirit, where you're believing more. You start seeing things, right? Again, it says, give instruction to a wise man. The men of the Lord have to teach. They have to teach, not one day, but daily. Because there's always, like what they say, when a person dies, there's another baby, is another person coming back on the earth. Another baby being born. When a person dies, another baby is born. 5 people killed, maybe 1,000 babies is born throughout the world. However, I can't think and be like, I'm Xavier, or a baby is born. Literally, somebody dies, 2 or 1 baby, 5 babies is born in this world, right? So give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. The whole point is for us to grow, continue to grow, man, right? Teach a just man, a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. This is why videos, teaching is important. Going out to the highways and byways is important. But the Lord blessed us even more with these electronic devices. But it's really these internet engines like YouTube that can push your video into different areas in the world, and people can get edified, you know. All praise to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. He always, there's no way around it. He made it possible to make sure his word get around, regardless if you're not even traveling. This is Daniel chapter 1 verse 17. It says, as for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. This is going into Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The Lord. So again, for us to be lethal weapons, the Lord has to give us this knowledge. The Lord has to draw you to the prophets. The Lord has to draw you to sitting, and then next thing you know, you like, dang, I don't know this. And then now you got a question. The Lord might have you bump across somebody. Sometimes you might be walking and you see the Hebrew Israelites on the corner. You might be on YouTube just looking at bullshit and you come across Hebrew Israelites. Some of us seeing them, somebody seeing them. Shit, you might actually see the right teachers. And then whatever you thinking in your mind is there. A lot of us have stories on how we got in this, right? I was, in a worse way, smoking weed and sitting here while I'm not reading my Bible. Opened up that book. The first thing that it opened up to, I said, I'm going to read, and it was Romans 9. And I seen the Lord hate somebody. I got up and was confounded because I never knew that. And I went to go look up this person Esau, and it kept showing me an image of a white little boy. And it said Edomites, da-da-da. But in Romans, it said Edom. And I was just stuck. Went to the store, and I needed to tell somebody because it was like a spiritual fire in my head. I had to tell somebody. So many people in this damn store. And I asked one brother, and he turned around, and he had fringes on his jacket and his shirt. I didn't know what they was until after talking to him and then going to my house and looking these things up. And I'm like, wow. And before I went outside and before I opened up my Bible, I was saying, Lord, man, please allow me to find the truth. Because it wasn't lining up to me. How is they portraying him being white at church, but it's saying the Bible he black? I just didn't know. Maybe I'm bugged out. I didn't know what was really the truth for me to be led to Romans 9 and then go out and this dude say the so-called devil is the white man that the Bible speak of. And I never even told him what verse I went to. I just said, yo, did you know God hates somebody? And he just said Edom. So the Lord gives us this knowledge. The Lord place you into certain places where you hear certain things and it become intriguing. So it was really all the Lord that got whoever is in the truth. However you got in here, however long you in this thing, if you're growing in this thing, right? If your faith is increasing, your understanding is increasing, it's all Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And we see it right here. God gave them knowledge, skill, and all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. It's the Lord that giveth those gifts. Right? Let's read this last one. Wisdom of Solomon, the 9th chapter, verse 1. He says, O God, my fathers and Lord of mercy, who has made all things with thy word and ordained man through thy wisdom, that he should have dominion over the creatures which thou hast made, and ordered the world according to equity and righteousness, and execute judgment with an upright heart. Give me wisdom that sitteth by thy throne, and reject me not from among thy children. Right? Solomon is asking the Lord, which you even go into, I think it's 2 Chronicles. He's even asking the Lord to give me the wisdom that sits on the right hand of your throne. Really through the Spirit, this is Yahawashi. It's really the Rakak Wadash. It says, for I, thy servant and son of thy handmaid, am a feeble person, and of a short time, and too young for the understanding of judgment and laws. For though a man be never so perfect among the children of men, yet if thy wisdom be not with him, he shall be nothing regarded. Right? So if the wisdom of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is not upon the children of men or the children of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, they are regarded as nothing. That's basically a 2/3. So literally, it's the Lord that gives the increase. Now, I said that was the last one, but we got to get this. John the 3rd chapter. John chapter 3 and verse 30. He said, "He must increase, but I must decrease. He that cometh from above is above all, and he that is of the earth is earthly, and speaketh of the earth, and he that cometh from heaven is above all." Right? And then you got another one with Paul, and he's talking about Silas and himself. Silas water and I plant, or vice versa, but the Lord is the one that gives the increase. Right? He has to increase within us, but it's truly the Lord that gives that increase. Right? Let's get another one dealing with Yahawashi when Paul spoke in 1 Timothy chapter 1 verse 12. He said, "And I thank Hamashiach Yahawashi our Lord, who have enabled me, for he counted me faithful, putting me into the ministry." Enabled me, he turned on, he activated Paul, right? And he was searching the heart. So when we go back to Jeremiah 17 and 10, right, the Lord is searching the heart. He's trying to reins and giving every man according to his ways. So it's really the Lord that's increasing you, right? When it draws you to go read, it's magnifying. This whole video is to magnify that it's the Lord that's making you be edified, to get educated, right? Yes, it felt like, oh man, I went over here, I seen them. Oh man, I opened up my Bible and I was reading this chapter. Oh man, it was really the Lord. He programmed you to move in that direction. It doesn't matter 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock a.m., 12 in the afternoon, 6 p.m. The Lord guided you in that direction for you to be edified, for you to grow in his wisdom, knowledge, understanding. And yes, it's day by day, week by week, year after year, continually until he come, because we want to perfect ourselves while we're battling with this flesh. We want to make ourselves worthy unto the Lord, and we can't do that just by being lazy. You want to consume yourself in this word, because we're going to be attacked. You have to know the spirit world, which you don't see, can definitely bump up against you. When we look at 1 Samuel, which all the way from the 1st chapter all the way up, but going into the time of Saul, you can grow high in a position in this world, and then you start getting full of yourself. You can come in this truth and get a higher rank and position or name. You start to feel yourself and disregard what the Lord has done unto you. Everything we do on this thing, so we're supposed to be lowly, be humble in this thing, because the more prideful or proud you get, it can be a hard fall for you, And this wisdom that we get, be patient, right? This wisdom and knowledge that you get, right? Don't have your mind on things that pertain to you saying me, me, me. Always put Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi as the forefront of your life. It helps you to stay leveled in this thing. Right? I'm only saying that because some people do slip and then they start getting prideful. Certain people slip and they get comfortable. Certain people start feeling like they're better than others, and they're truly not, right? Let alone they're probably teaching totally incorrectly. You got to come in this thing and be humble. You got to come in this thing and want to be used by the Lord, right? Because if a wise man getteth knowledge and he increase, right? You have to be willing. You have to be willing to be humbled in this thing, right? To be lifted. Remember, the first is going to be last, and the last shall be first, right? We have to every day yield ourselves to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. It's all him. Every day, want to ask the Lord to move you in the direction he wants you to, especially when it comes to teaching or doing a lesson. And I felt like today, this was needed not only for y'all, but for myself. We have to know that we're a lethal weapon when we're educated in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Lord willing, you was edified. Lord willing, you took something from it. If not, hey, it's okay. We're going to do another lesson. Lord willing, the Lord allows it. With that, shalom. Shalom.